Hey dolls! For the past few months, I've been giving my home a bit of a makeover. I'm redecorating and reorganizing my space, just about every single room, and that includes my Barbie collection. This got me thinking about how my organization and storage of dolls have evolved, and both have changed immensely over my years of collecting. To be honest, I was extremely inefficient with my storage, with my care overall of my dolls growing up. Basically, I had this big cardboard box. I called it the Barbie box, and that is where most of my dolls called home. I carelessly tossed my dolls away when I was done playing with them, and needless to say, this caused a lot of damage to my Barbies. Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of heads fall off over time, but anyway, I've learned a lot about caring for my dolls since then, and now my dolls are in a lot better shape. So in this video, I want to chat about how I organize my collection, my thought process, and tips that I use that work for me. Please keep in mind that this is just how I personally do things. So like I usually say with these kinds of videos, this isn't like the right way of storing your dolls. So just take whatever tips work for you. My first tip is to plan out what you're doing before you do it. It's a lot more difficult to organize or reorganize your collection if you have no idea where you want anything to go. And it's a lot less intimidating to do this if you have a game plan established ahead of time. When I first moved to where I am now, I had a good idea of how much space I wanted to dedicate to displaying my collection, and I knew I wanted to set up different scenes, different dioramas. So because of that, it was a lot easier for me to pick out a shelf that suited my needs. On that note, if you're looking for a shelf, I definitely suggest checking the measurements of the shelf before you buy it, specifically for the height of each shelf. Assuming you want to display your dolls standing up, make sure you leave a couple of extra inches so that your dolls aren't bonking into the ceiling. So Barbies are 11.5, 12 inches tall, and then being on a doll stand is gonna add a little bit of extra height. So I think I was aiming for about 15 inches per shelf, if I'm remembering correctly. So keep that in mind. Regardless of what shelf you have, how you want to display them, knowing what you're doing going into it makes the process way more streamlined, so much easier. I've found that displaying my Barbies upright helps to keep them in good shape, so that's why I like using a shelf to display them. They're also easier for me to access this way because they aren't tucked away somewhere. I like to store my dolls by accessibility. The ones that I use a lot are on my shelf, like I said, because I can just grab them very easily, and the ones that I don't use as often are in a drawer. Even within that drawer, the dolls that I use more are at the top of my drawer, and then the ones that I don't really use are at the bottom. That way I'm not digging through my entire drawer to find like my mini-me. Within this drawer, I try to avoid having heads touching other heads in order to prevent damage to the faces, just in case. You can never be too careful. When I was younger, like I said, I had the Barbie box, but I also had a Kelly box, and I had a Chrissy doll in this Kelly box. I don't know how this happened, but one day I found her and her forehead was melted. Like I said, I don't know how that happened, but ever since then, I just try to avoid having heads touching other heads. Also, this can help prevent scratching to the face, dents, anything like that. Also, I store articulated dolls with their arms back behind their head, like this, to kind of hold their hair in place, keep it from getting tangled. I've been doing this for years, and it works surprisingly well in my experience. And in this drawer, I keep most of my dolls without clothes, and if they do have clothes, it's probably something that I don't use very often. I do this to keep the clothes that I do use more readily available and easier to find. Speaking of doll clothes, I organize them in categories that work for me. It's pretty simple. I just have tops and bottoms and then accessories, and then I organize my shoes by color.
I arrange my clothes in order of color so I can make quicker choices in the morning.
It's especially important to keep those tiny accessories organized since they are so easy to lose. This next tip is pretty crucial to me. I do not store my dolls with styled hair, at least styled hair that they did not come with. I put my doll's hair in a lot of different updos and styles, especially in my Mind Game series. Considering Hilda is becoming a hairstylist, she changes up her hair a lot. But when I'm done filming, I never leave the hairstyle in. I always take it out. Even if I'm not done with the scene, if I have to film more the next day or something, I still take it out and I will redo it the next time I film. This is because keeping the hair in a style, how do I explain this? It sort of splits the hair, it sections it off, and if you leave it in long enough, it can leave weird crimps or waves. I just don't want to deal with that. That's not really what I'm going for, so I always take it out just to be safe. When I was younger, I would leave my doll's hair in ponytails or whatever. I would leave it for months, sometimes even probably like over a year. So naturally, when I finally did take it out, it looked pretty bizarre. So that is why I do not store my dolls with styled hair. Within your storage, I recommend leaving extra room for growth. Your collection is more than likely going to get bigger over time, and your new dolls are going to need a place to go too. And lastly, if you improve your organization in other aspects of your life, I believe it will become easier to organize your doll collection as well. I've definitely noticed this in my own life. This past year and a half maybe, I've become much more organized. I'm not perfect, I still have a lot of work to do, but trust me, it's gotten way better over the years. I love writing things down in my planner, just writing things down in general, and being organized makes life a lot easier overall. So that's pretty much what I do to organize my doll collection, but I would love to know how you organize your dolls and which of these tips resonate the most with you. Let's talk in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe if you want and watch my YouTube original series drama Mind Games. Also follow me on Instagram for Barbie music covers, photography, and behind the scenes, and I will see you in these videos right here. Bye!